get cramp in my thumb from doing the thumbnail. Oh, that's funny, cramp in my thumbnail. Aloha! The time has come, ladies and gentlemen, for one of the most requested... I wanted to do such a great opening and I just absolutely flopped it. The time has come for the most requested video I think I've ever been requested to... Oh, I've messed it up again. It is time for the most requested video ever on my channel, and that is an updated Camp America last minute packing hints and tips video. Boom shakalaka! 2 years ago when I was the Camp America vlogger for the summer of 2016, I made a Camp America packing tips video for them, and I also put it on my own channel, and I think it's been viewed like over 30,000 times now, which is insane. But of course that was 2 years ago. I have since been to camp twice and I have learned a lot of things and I know a lot more about travelling just in general, so I wanted to do an updated version. So it would be a massive help if you could share this video so that people know that the updated version is out there, because the other one has more views. It'll automatically show up higher in the search engine list thing that YouTube comes out with when you search Camp America packing videos. So if you could share the video, let people know that it's out there, and hopefully people who've watched the first video and maybe want some more hints and tips, they can come to this one too and get all the knowledge. Every day is a school day, boys and girls. Every day is a school day. So how I'm going to do this video is a little bit different to my first one. So if you've come from that to this, the setup's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to break it down into sections like electronics, clothing, essentials, different things like that. So the first section we're going to tackle is your bag. Your bag is the most essential thing that you take with you because it holds all your other crap. You gotta get the bag right. It's got to be right. When it comes to your bag, you have pretty much two different ends of the spectrum that you can go to. You can go more suitcasey or you can go more rucksackish. I don't think they're actual English words, but we're gonna go with those extremes, okay? First year round, I took a rucksack personally. Can't remember how many litres it was. It was a fair sized rucksack though. I would say, oh my god, what was it, like 75 litres, something like that? It was a pretty hefty backpack, to say the least. This little bit of hair keeps coming in my face and it's really annoying me. It suited my travel plans more because I was moving about a lot, and also I travelled with it before and I had more experience travelling with a backpack, to be perfectly honest, so it just made more sense. It was just easier, I was more comfortable with it, all that fun stuff. My second year round though, I took a suitcase. Now the reason for that change was the fact that I bought so many things while I was away, and I felt like coming back I was like throwing stuff out of my case that really I would have rather kept, but I had to keep within a weight limit. Also the first year round, I found like halfway through the summer, for example, there were things that I would have quite liked to have with me, and it just made more sense to give myself a little bit more wiggle room to take more stuff out with me if I decided that I wanted to, and also bring stuff back that I either got from camp or bought while travelling and things like that. So more wiggle room just made sense. So I've tried both and I have experience with both, and I hate to say this, but it really is personal preference here. Like personally, I can say, looking at the 2 years with the camp that I went to and travel plans and having space, you know, the suitcase ended up working out better for me. But when you yourself are choosing what bag you're going to take, there's a few things that you need to consider. Number one, what do you need to take with you personally? If you need to take a lot of stuff, and realistically having that and carrying that around on your back, if it's not going to be the best idea, maybe the rucksack isn't right for you. Number two, what kind of camp are you going to? Are you going to have space to store a big suitcase? Are you going to be able to unpack everything? Are you going to have that space? Or is it easier to have a rucksack that you can pretty much squish flat and stick under a bed when it's empty? And number three, what are your travel plans afterwards? Does this affect your choice? Are you road tripping with people and you don't want a massive suitcase to take up the back seat of the car? Loads of things to consider. I think if I was going back to do it again, I would go for something in betweenish. I would quite like to get, see, one of the hold-alls that have the two wheels on the bottom, so you can use it as a suitcase, but you can also like use the straps as a backpack, and it has the straps to go around your waist and everything like that, just as a normal backpack would. I'm pretty sure North Face does those, I can't remember, but I would go for one of those. Another bag you need to consider is your carry-on bag. Because you're going on a US flight, typically they allow you to have your bag in the hold and then also your carry-on bag. So I took this rucksack right here. Such a worldly rucksack. You've been everywhere, haven't you? This is a Hot Tuna backpack. It's an Australian brand and it's just really, really good quality. The thing that I loved most about this bag is that it has a padded back panel, which just worked well out for me. It worked out well for me because I did take my laptop with me, not really to use at camp, more just to do the occasional YouTubey thing while I was travelling and such. so it meant that I knew it was going to be safe and padded and just well taken care of. Also, these bags typically tend to have loads of different compartments, so you've got a big compartment in the back, you've got a slightly smaller one in the middle, and then you've got your front compartment at the front, well done me, and then you've got your mini zip compartment right on the front of the backpack as well. So you can separate things out and it just makes things easy to find when you're moving around in airports or you just need to get something out quickly. So that's your bags. Next thing we're going to do is essentials. The essentials, as you would imagine, are pretty essential. Well done me, I'm so funny. Good God, I'm a nightmare. The first essential I'm talking about, I mentioned it in my other packing tips video for Camp America, and I'm mentioning it again because I still swear by it. Every trip that I go on, whether it's to the US, within Europe, or even just down to London to see my boyfriend, I carry with me a documents folder. It's just a little coloured Ziploc folder that I keep all my documents in. I have gone through a few folders in my time because things have gotten ripped and little Ziplocs have burst and buttons have gone missing and just but I make sure that I have a folder nonetheless. Whenever I'm going anywhere, I make sure I have a folder. When I'm traveling, typically I have the standard documents that you need in there. So I have a photocopy of my passport and driver's license. I have a copy of whatever insurance, like travel insurance, that I have at that time. I tend to have extra copies of boarding passes in there just in case, and when I'm in the airport I just keep my passport in there just for convenience, so the works basically. Also, email a copy of those things to your email address as well. So that's my standard documents folder, but for camp I added a couple of things, just things that I needed. For camp I added a copy of my visa, a copy of my medical insurance, baggage insurance, my camp contract, and it just gave me peace of mind knowing that I had extras if I needed them, and I also emailed those copies to myself as well. My passport was stolen in Hawaii my first year, so having those copies actually really helped when I was speaking at different consulates and such, so just in case, you never know. Next essential, pretty basic. You would think that it's a standard thing that people would take with them, but you'd be surprised how many people forget, and that is a bank card. Not essential for all travel, but in this case I would recommend it. Really handy to have because most travel things like booking a rental car, booking hotels, booking Airbnbs, booking hostels, all that happens online, and also you don't need to worry about any transaction fees when you're lifting cash because you can get your camp paychecks made out to cash and then you've got it already in dollars. Next essential in relation to cards and money, and that's a purse. Again, you'd be surprised how many people forget, and also where is my purse? I've got so much stuff around me, it's ridiculous. This is the little handy dandy purse that I typically use when I travel. It's a little brown kind of tatted looking purse, and it's also got a little silhouette of the Hawaiian Islands. Would you believe I got this in Honolulu? You would never guess. And the inside of this is pretty basic. You've got space for a couple of cards, some room for receipts or anything else that you need to keep a hold of that's slightly larger, and then you've got your zip compartment in the middle for coinage, or as I like to call it, shrapnel. I hate carrying cash, it's so freaking annoying, but necessary when traveling, of course. I think I just use this purse because it's not that I wouldn't necessarily mind if anything happened to it, it's just that the purse that I have for everyday use back here is a designer purse and I don't really want anything happening to that, so yeah, just makes sense. It's simple, it's small, it's thin, it can slip into the little front part of that backpack, it can slip into a bum bag or a fanny pack, we'll get to that later, and yeah, just handy to have. My next essential is actually for your carry-on bag, and that is an emergency bag. In this emergency bag you want to have a little bit of different things that you could potentially use if your bag happens to get lost. It does happen in airports, they can't get it right every single time, it's gonna happen to someone. If it happens to you, having this can really help. In my emergency bag I tend to put basic toiletries like deodorant wipes, maybe like a little mini tin of face moisturiser, mini toothpaste, a mini toothbrush, a change of underpants, a top, just essentially that if your suitcase was to get lost and you had to go a night without your suitcase, you can pretty much get by with this little handy dandy bag. My friend's bag did actually get lost last year, so just saying. Moving swiftly on to electronics. Electronics didn't really make up a big part of my summer while I was at camp because we were in open air cabins, there was no electricity, so we didn't really need anything electricity wise. But nevertheless, for travel afterwards, you may need the odd electrical appliance. And I don't mean appliance like don't be patting your freaking kitchen kettle, like that's not what I'm on about. First electrical is something that you're going to need for all your other electricals, and that is an extension cable or extension pack with one adapter. Allow me to explain and show you an example. My extension pack is actually this thing here. So if you take one of these, or even one of the extension cables that have, you know, the short cable with the one plug at the end and then all of these attached to it, if you take something like that, it means that you just need to take one adapter, stick it on the back of this, and you don't need to take adapters for everything else. Also means you'll have more plugs. If you go into hostels sometimes there's only one plug at the bedside of each bed, so very handy. Now you've got 4. These can be bought really cheap. They have them all the time in I saw them actually in B&M the other day for like a couple of £2. I've seen them in Halfords, I've seen them pretty much everywhere, and you can also get them on Amazon if it's like a last minute thing you want to add in. Prime delivery next day. FYI, for anyone who doesn't know, the adapters you're looking for the US is the one with 2 little prongs that are flat. Another route you can go down for adapters is the universal adapter. These pretty much have alteration bits on the side where you can change what plug it is adaptable to. You can have it for the UK, Europe, the US, etc. And this one that I have has 2 little USB slots at the top, so it means that I could charge, for example, like 2 phones at once just with this one plug. If you're only taking electricals with you that have USB ports, this is maybe the easier option rather than taking something like this. Speaking of charging phones, my next electrical to take with you is a portable charger. These little things work wonders for long haul flights. If you're going hiking like I did over the summer, it's just a comfort to know that if anything ever happens, your phone's never going to run out of charge. The one that I have here is a Powerad portable charger. I got this for about £8 on Amazon, and it really just charges up overnight and makes things super simple. And because they just go by a USB slot, you just need to use your own phone cable so they can work with any phone. Double check the specs though, because there may be some that don't. Next thing, earphones or headphones. Remember, if you're taking wireless earphones or headphones, that you need to take the cable for the plane, because there's actually a lot of airlines that don't allow Bluetooth products to be used at all on aircrafts anymore. Next thing, very basic, everyone pretty much has one and is travelling with them nowadays, and that's a phone. Other than the obvious pros of having a phone with you, I would recommend you to use Amazon Prime Video, because you can download movies and TV shows onto your phone, and that is very handy for watching on airplanes if you don't have one of those really posh entertainment systems in front of you. You can literally download a full season of something and just binge watch it in the airport and on the plane. So freaking handy. Also, if you don't have an international data plan, do what I did. Stick your phone on airplane mode pretty much constantly and only ever turn it off to tune into Wi-Fi when you can get it places, basically. This next thing may be one and the same with your phone. It very much is for me a lot of the time now, and that is a camera. I know definitely the case for myself, like because I've got such a high spec camera in my phone already, I only ever take an additional camera with me if I really need to. But whether it's a phone camera, whether it's a HD camera, a handheld camera, whether it's a big camera like the one that I'm filming on right now, it's just handy to have something to document your travels. 2 more electrical things, and that is a hairdryer and straighteners if you use them. I think I only used mine like 4 times in the 4 months that I was away, but like being able to use them and get like done up and do my hair and stuff like that for going out while travelling actually felt quite nice. And the last thing in my electricals list, something to keep your electricals in. This may sound ridiculous, but having a bunch of chargers just kicking about in your bag could end up being an absolute shambles, so it's just handy to have something to keep everything tidy and in the one place. For that, I got this little packet here from Amazon. I don't actually know what brand this is. It says "Be Unique, Be Myself" on the front, and it's a 2-compartment storage pouch for any electrical items and cables. This was really cheap off Amazon, probably like £7-8, something like that. But in 2 compartments you've got little mesh parts to keep small cables rolled up, you've got elasticated bits that you can tuck cables into, large compartments for actual electrical items, and then of course you've got a similar thing on the other side. I have loads of stuff in here at the moment, but there you go. This is actually the perfect size, see, for a Mac charger after you know, dismantle the charger. The square battery pack on a Mac charger fits perfectly into this, so it works for me like a dream. Next section we're moving on to is clothing. Now the one thing I'm going to say about clothing before we even talk about what you should actually pack is make sure that whatever it is camp appropriate first. This basically means no bad language or any bad symbols on anything. Also make sure that it is not too revealing, just the basic common sense stuff. As long as you do that, you should be absolutely fine. Starting off with the basics, underpants, and I like to say the more the merrier. You get laundry once a week at camp, or at least we did at my camp, and I hate to say it, some things did get lost and just went into the laundry and they were never seen again. So it's always handy just to have a couple of extra pairs there, but if need be you can always buy cheap ones at Walmart. Socks, same thing. I would highly recommend some athletic ankle socks with a little bit of padding on the sole of the foot, and of course hiking socks if you're taking hiking boots with you. I will say though, the last year, because I was waterfront staff, and even like the year before when I was land staff, I spent most of my time either like not wearing socks with a pair of Converse or wearing flip-flops or sliders. This isn't necessarily clothing, but as I'm going through the basics, I may as well mention this because it's a massive question that I always get asked about Camp America. I always get asked if people need to take towels and bed linens and things like that. Because we are international staff at my camp, we got provided that, and we also got provided with a trunk to keep our stuff in, which was very kind of them. I don't really know what other camps do, so you'll need to check and see what the score is with that. If you don't get provided with them though, I would highly recommend just buying them out there. You can get nice cheap stuff from Walmart, and then you can just throw it away at the end of camp. However, one thing that I can recommend, if you do even get provided with your bed linen, if you're staying in an open air cabin like I was, if you're staying in a bunk bed like I was, and if you're sleeping on a mattress that's maybe like this thin, you know, I would highly recommend getting yourself a mattress topper, get a queen size, fold it over, bang that under your fitted sheet, and you will sleep like a king, my friend. If you're from the US and you're watching this, a mattress topper for us is essentially an egg crate for you guys. Like the memory foam squishy things. Moving back onto clothing, and I hate to say this again, but it really depends on a couple of things. Depends on where you're going, what the weather's like there, what your job is, but I can give you some advice based on my experiences. For basic clothing, I took a couple of different things and just took a lot of them. Well, not a lot, but a couple of them. So the first thing I made sure to take was shorts. Mainly like comfy athletic-y type shorts. Like I took my Nike ones that I had a matching top for. I took a pair of Under Armour ones, and then just generally like a couple of, you know, comfy pairs that I had just kicking around. I also took denim shorts, and I took a nice kind of dressy pair of shorts as well. For t-shirts and tops, I took a little bit of a variety again. T-shirts, basically just anything that was comfortable. Vest tops, same thing. I took a lot of Adidas stuff. A lot of gym gear kind of tops, just purely because I was a lifeguard and I was moving around camp a lot. It just made so much sense. I did take a few nice tops, a few nice kind of camis, like floaty tops. And I think I took one nice kind of light button up like shirty thing, similar to what I'm wearing now, I think. I also took leggings in case I wanted something a little bit longer, mainly gym leggings just because of my job and because they're comfy, and just a few general pairs of black leggings. Massive thing for me, comfy joggers and jumpers. I think I took, like, I travelled in one tracksuit, I took one comfy pair of joggers with me, and I ended up buying a comfy pair there. So I had 3 comfy pairs just to kind of cycle around. Jumpers, pretty much same thing. I think I accumulated a lot of jumpers from camp. I got a rock climbing hoodie, I got a Lake George one from Walmart down the road. I accumulated a lot of comfy clothes. You need comfy clothes at camp. Come on, you wanna be comfy. In your downtime when you're cozying up in your bed, be comfy. Also, I took a skirt or two. I had a denim skirt, and I also had a kind of Aztec-y print skirt, and there was one more, I think it was white, I can't remember, but I had those as well. Something else I would recommend taking is something nice for banquet, or a lot of camps have parents' days and things like that. In my case, we had both. We had banquet twice a summer, and it was essentially just a really nice lunch/dinner where the counsellors got to get dressed up and all the kids still wore uniform. And yeah, it was just a really nice occasion. I wore a maxi dress for my first banquet last summer, and I wore a play suit for my second banquet last summer. These things are really handy to take purely because they're things that you can wear again while you're travelling if you're going out anywhere, so it's really not like you're packing them just for 1 or 2 days. You can actually wear them a couple of times. Something I definitely recommend taking, regardless of where you're going, because the weather can always take a turn, is a light jacket. I took an Adidas light kind of windbreaker jacket, and then I bought a really cheapy waterproof to do me the summer from Walmart. When in doubt, Walmart, pretty much. Swimwear at camp. I took 2 bikinis, I think, and 4 or 5 swimsuits. That's a total lie. I took so many swimsuits. I own too many. I love them all. I cannot choose. The amount of swimsuits that I've accumulated from like swimming and diving and stuff like that is horrifying. One thing I would say though is that camps typically don't like the bikinis that are little triangles, purely because they're a little bit too revealing, and also they're not that reliable if something goes wrong. So you're looking for bikinis that are actually going to stay put. Because I was a lifeguard, that had to be the case, but most of the times when I was guarding or doing swim teaching, I would just wear a swimsuit. In my downtime though, that's when the bikinis came out. Pyjamas! I took 2 pairs, one long and one short, and then I just had a little collection of random shorts and t-shirts that I had with me anyway that were really comfy that I could wear as pyjamas if need be. Shoes! The one thing that everyone overpacks. Shoes! Last summer I took with me trainers ×2. I took 2 pairs purely because the first year round I got caught in a rainstorm and my trainers got soaked and they took forever to dry out completely, and I couldn't wear my trainers again when I needed to, and I didn't have other athletic shoes, so I took 2 pairs so that I'd have one as a backup. I learned from my mistake. My trainers were really light and can be like smooshed in my case anyway, so they did not take up a lot of room and they were not heavy. Trainers were typically more for like my active stuff, hiking after camp when I was traveling and stuff like that. I also took a pair of Converse. These were just kick-about-y shoes, like kicking about at camp, kicking about on time off, just kicking about in general. Flip-flops or sliders if you prefer. Absolute must at my camp because you had to wear them in the showers because a lot of people shared showers and it's just the safe and hygienic thing to do. Also, if you're at the beach, if you're kicking about camp, and me being on the waterfront, flip-flops were just the generally more sensible option. And finally, a nice pair of shoes. For me, that was black sandals. I didn't bother taking heels because, yeah, to be honest, I just couldn't be bothered. I didn't want to deal with heels when I was away at summer camp. So I took a nice pair of black sandals, and it basically meant that I could wear them at banquet and I could wear them going out after camp when I was traveling. And they went with everything because I took a black pair. Also for shoes, we got hit with some crazy rain in upstate New York last year. So if you're susceptible to rain or you start to get rain, do not worry, you can always pick up a cheapy pair of wellies from, again, Walmart, like I did. Toiletries! One of my favourite things to pack, toiletries! I can't tell if that's sarcasm or if I've actually done it so many times now that I actually enjoy packing my toiletries. First thing I'm going to mention, makeup. If you want to take makeup, by all means take it. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't or that you shouldn't. If you want to take it, take it. In everyday camp life, you probably won't have the time to put it on all the time, and also, if you in the sunshine, you want those rays hitting your face. I didn't think I wore it that much over camp. I think I probably wore it like a handful of times, pretty much the same as actually doing my hair. But when I could do it and, you know, do myself up, again, it was nice. 4 things that are an absolute must. Tweezers, nail clippers, a nail file and a nail buffer. For those things, you just don't want to be borrowing them from other people, especially nail clippers. That's just... My first year round, I took really basic essential toiletries, whereas my second year round, I pretty much just took whatever I was using at the time, regardless of how much or little that would be. I think this was just because, like, my first year round, I found halfway through the summer, like, I'd taken a small bottle of perfume, like one of the small travel bottles, and I went through it relatively quickly, and I realised I could have really done with like bringing the perfume that I was wearing at the time because it was a big bottle and it would have done me, and I actually missed the smell of it. Little things like that. It sounds silly, but it makes a difference when you're away from home and you just want your things. Does that make sense? So feel free to take your perfume, feel free to take your toner, cleanser, moisturiser, whatever you use, whatever's going to make you feel comfortable and at home and in a routine, take it with you. When it came to things like shampoo and stuff, I only took minis to get me through the first couple of days until I could get to a Walmart, and then I got big bottles, and then at the end of camp I just refilled my minis to do me travelling, and then they could go in the bin later anyway. Making full use of everything you take. Something I would highly recommend just buying when you get there is things like sun cream and bug spray. I know that we needed to use bug spray. I got eaten alive the first summer, but you know. If you buy all that before you leave, it is really going to put a lot of weight in your bag and it's really going to take up a lot of space, and it's a little bit silly. Like, by all means take one of each or even like a mini of each just to get you through the first couple of days, but you will get to a Walmart where you can buy those kind of things. They won't let you go without. You'll be absolutely fine. It's just a space saver, a weight saver, and just a time saver really. You don't need to go buying stuff that you're not going to need until you get there. Another big thing, a case for your toothbrush. Should go without saying. You'd think everyone would remember it. You'd be surprised how many people just totally blank. Also remember to take any medication that you're currently on, and also just a little kind of mini first aid kit kind of thing of basic pain meds. At our camp, all meds had to be kept out of the cabin because there couldn't be any chance of kids getting their hands on them, but they were put into a bag with your name on them. I took basic like paracetamol, ibuprofen, I think I took something for cramps, and I took a nasal spray because I can absolutely just not cope with having a blocked nose. So I took those things, and if I ever felt like I needed them off like just my own intuition, I could go and ask the nurses. They would unlock the cupboard, I could get my bag as long as I took it in there and then put it back, they were absolutely fine with it. And lastly, put all of your makeup into a makeup bag and all of your toiletries into a toiletry bag. Feel free to wrap any bottles that you feel may come open with the pressure on the plane in cling film, like around the caps, or even just put the things that you think might open into little Ziploc food bags. And it just means that if something does happen to open and go all over your suitcase, it's only going to be contained within that one wee bag or within the cling film. You're not cleaning out your whole toiletry bag and cleaning off everything else. So it just minimises the mess if it happens. For your toiletries at camp, I highly recommend buying yourself a shower caddy. You can get them from Walmart. They cost basically nothing, and it's just a handy way of getting your bottles and your toiletries into the shower with you without juggling them there. If you have cubicles, that is. Your camp may be set up totally different, but we had cubicles, so you kept your shower stuff in your cabin, and then if you were going up for a shower during your allotted shower time, you would just take your little caddy up and off you went. Just made everything so much easier. First year round though, Walmart sold out of shower caddies, so I bought a bucket and took it to camp, flipped it upside down and poked holes in the bottom of the bucket, and then just used that as a shower caddy so all the water would go out the bottom. Be inventive, creativity is a plaque. Oh my god, that was a saying from my camp. I feel so good for being able to incorporate that. Last section is miscellaneous things, and my camera just went on a low battery, so I'm gonna do this hella quick. First thing I would recommend taking is a water bottle. This is a hydro flask. I can't remember how big this one is. 21 ounces, there we go. So like 621 millilitres, so not massively big. You can get different sizes, but I went for this one just because it's easier to carry around. It's not massive and bulky. But I got this as one of my birthday presents last year, and it honestly was like one of the best birthday presents I've ever gotten. Keeps the cold stuff cold, keeps the hot stuff hot. What more could you want? Also a very reliable brand, and something I really like is you have these little handles on the caps of the bottle, so they could clip onto a carabiner and they could clip onto the bottom of your bag if you're going on a hike. Hydro flask is totally where it's at, let's be real. A fanny pack! Yes, I said the word, a fanny pack. I got this one while I was in Hawaii, just because it's cute as hell. Very nice size, 2 compartments, very handy to have on. Again, if you're hiking, if you're wandering around, if you're gonna need to get a hold of things like a phone or a camera, it's a good way to keep them on your person for when you need them. Also just love the fanny pack vibes. Try to say that 5 times fast. Whoa. Other simple things to take with you are sunglasses and also a hat. I got my first year's hat, where are you? This one here, I got this one at Walmart, mesh at the back, still love it. You know what, I'm gonna put that on right now. Then I got this one in Honolulu, says Hawaii at the front. Again, very comfy, flowery, very nice. Take a hat, trust me it helps. I'm gonna take that off before I get a hat line on the front of my head. And another little miscellaneous thing that I've just thought of off the top of my head, it's not on my list, is light jewellery. Nothing overly expensive or fancy, just, you know, something nice to put on at banquet, something nice to have on when you're travelling. Like, again, not something with a lot of sentimental value in case it ever gets lost, but just something nice. I kept my earrings in all the way through camp. I just got this piercing when I went to camp, so you know, I didn't have a choice in the matter, that one was staying in. And I think I took a necklace and a bracelet, and I just kind of took them off whenever I was getting in the water. So that is everything I can think of. There may be other things. If there is, I will add them in a little last minute list in the description. If there's not a list, it means I've not thought of anything. So that's all the stuff I could think of. As for how to pack it, it really is up to personal preference, but I do have a few little bits of advice. If you're taking a suitcase, I would recommend to pack everything as flat as you can, fold as little as possible so that you can even it all out across the whole surface area of the case. Also, put a towel at the bottom, or at the very least on top of everything when you finish packing. Usually I put one at the bottom, one at the top, and it just means you've got emergency towels if you ever need them. And also it means that it's going to keep everything compact. Nothing's going to be shuffling about. If I've got anything floaty, for example, like cami tops, like stuff can move about quite easily, so it stops that from happening. Also, if you have those little straps that fasten over in your case, it means there's going to be no crease lines directly on where the straps were on your clothes, and it means that anything that might have been on the strap won't rub off onto your clothes either. As for a rucksack, one thing that I would definitely recommend is using compression sacks. It means that you're going to be able to compress the air out of your clothes as much as possible, and yes, it will mean they get a little bit creased, but it means you're going to make the most out of the space in your rucksack, which might actually not be that much anyway. Compression sacks, I don't have them to hand to show you at the moment. They're packed away with all my hiking stuff, but they are in my previous packing tips video for Camp America, which will be in the description. It'll be in the end card, and it'll probably be in the recommended section due to this video title anyway. Compression sacks are essentially little coloured bags that roll down, you push the air out of, you roll them down and you fasten them round and clip them together. You can get them in different colours so that you can colour code, you know, this one's trousers, this one's tops, this one's swimwear, blah blah blah. You can get them pretty much anywhere. You can get them online, you can get them in Sports Direct. I know they do them really cheap and they do a variety of different sizes, which is always handy. So I would recommend using them in a rucksack. And also for rucksacks, I have to admit, tucking and rolling is probably the best way to go. I get the most out of space in my rucksack if I roll my clothes and things like that, so it's just a space saver tip. Packing whatever way makes everything fit, essentially, but those are tips that I've used and they've definitely helped. But yeah, that's this video. It's a lot, this one's gonna be a lot longer than my previous one. I know that already just from filming it, and also I wanted to be as in-depth as possible because I get so many questions about what to take to camp, so hopefully I've given a good enough idea. I obviously didn't want to start taking stuff out my wardrobe and showing examples of everything that I took with me because a lot of it's just basic. But yeah, I hope it's helped. As I mentioned, I'm going to stick my other Camp America packing tips video right over there, and I'm also going to put my Camp America playlist down there, which is full of other videos that I made for Camp America. If you want to see other stuff that I've made, please head to my channel, subscribe if you've not subscribed. And lastly, if you're heading to Camp America this summer, have a fantastic time. You're absolutely going to love it. But other than that, much love you guys, and I shall see you all very soon. Bye!